to Casually Dressed and Deep in Conversation with me, Greg Chalmers. CDDC is sponsored by Pizza Daddy, Lanarkshire's #1 American-style pizza parlour. To stay up to date on new flavours and promotions, then get connected on the socials. The Instagram handle is @RealPizzaDaddy and the website is www.thepizzadaddy.co.uk. To see what we're getting up to here at Casually Dressed, then you can find us on Instagram with the handle @CDDC Podcast, and on Twitter it is @PodcastCDDC. Also, as you're watching this on YouTube, then please hit those like and subscribe buttons. And with me this evening is my usual co-host, it's Christopher Shields. How you doing, mate?
I'm alright, mate. I'm good.
You see the beads of sweat running down your forehead, mate. It's a stressful day.
It's been hectic, mate. It has been hectic. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to try and pretend like it's been a case of a swan, being graceful on top and my feet underneath have been pedalling through the business. So, yeah,
right, well, compose yourself.
Okay,
go. With us this evening, we've got Florence and Madeleine Joseph, who, along with their siblings, have written a letter to the Scottish Parliament and started a petition for reparation in education. Girls, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
Yeah.
How are you?
We're good. As I said, it's been a stressful day for us all today. And I don't even have any kids, so I don't know how Christopher's dealing with it. Before we start, there is an obligatory question that I ask everyone. How's your lockdown been?
Yeah, well, my lockdown's been kind of normal. I'm a nurse, so I've just been working throughout.
Just out saving lives.
Not quite.
Being a genuine hero and all that stuff. Getting claps all the time and that.
Yeah. She knows it as well. She's coming home.
Just be like, guys, you see it Thursday, 8 o'clock.
I'm like walking, I'm like, frontline flow is home. Yeah. Everyone parked.
Wearing a cape to your bed. No?
Yeah, literally. But yeah, no, so it's been pretty normal for me, but Maddie had to abandon ship.
Yeah, I was in uni in Spain, but now I'm in uni at home, so it's
yeah.
Where in Spain?
Near Madrid, like half an hour from Madrid.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah.
Slightly better weather than here, I would imagine.
Well, yeah.
But Maddie, when it was first announced, Maddie was like, I might just stay. Like, it's only going to be a couple of weeks. It'll be sweet. And Mum was like, nah, get your butt on the plane and get
I think it'll be all right. I mean,
literally, that's what she was like. She's like, it's only going to be a couple of weeks. Like, nah. Yeah. Mum was like, no chance, get home.
Hindsight, also.
Yeah.
So, let's get serious, guys. Serious faces on. So for people listening, can you give us an overview of what the petition and the letter was all about?
So basically we grew up in Helensburgh and we were one of very few mixed race Black Asian families in the town, and growing up we experienced quite a lot of racism from just general public, people at school, but also teachers and things. So our main aim of why we wrote the open letter and wrote the petition is because we want to try and change things and change the way that race is dealt with in schools, so that hopefully children who are coming up, like Black and ethnic minority children that are coming up in Scotland, feel more supported and protected at school than what we were. So that was basically why we decided to do it, yeah. So,
I mean, I had a read through it. There's 3 objectives that I read. So could you give us a bit of information about them as far as like what each of them means? Because I read through them and obviously it makes sense. But just for anyone listening, just to give the people a flavour of what the whole thing's about.
So our first aim is a curriculum for Black excellence, and it's all about putting different stories or different perspectives that haven't been told into our like existing curriculum, and new stories like that you just don't hear about, all these like famous, amazing, especially the streets that we grew up in. There's so many people that have done amazing things or have gone through horrific things that you don't hear about. So a curriculum for Black excellence, even though we're looking at minorities as a whole, we're looking at implementing it through modern studies and history and art, like in every aspect of the curriculum you can really.
Yeah, and we want to have more teaching materials that are written by Black, Asian, minority ethnic authors, because at the moment there actually isn't that much. And for a Black child or a BME child that's grown up in Scotland who wants to be a writer or wants to be an artist, growing up and not seeing any materials by people that look like you is difficult, because then it's like, oh, maybe I can't do that. Maybe that's only for this group of people or that group of people. So that is another thing we want to do in that aim. Our second aim is about diversifying and looking into why there's not very many Black or Asian or minority ethnic teachers in Scotland. So there's
65% underrepresentation.
Yeah, like there's only like 1% of teachers in or 1.
It's 1.4, I think, percent of like teachers across the board for primary and secondary teachers are from like
a Black or
background.
ethnic background, and then it's something ridiculous like only 0.6 of teachers in elevated positions, so that's deputy heads, head teachers, come from a minority ethnic background. So we want to look into that and find out why that is, and try and change that, because
again, it's the whole having a role model who looks like you.
I like
100%.
I think we were quite shocked when we looked into it and we actually realised how poor the representation was.
Like Helensburgh is a very white town in itself, and we were thinking, obviously it varies across the country, but to have that as the national average, I think
and then our final thing is about educating our educators. So we want to make racial awareness training a compulsory part of teacher training, and then get updates on it every 1 to 2 years, because we spoke to a lot of teachers,
teachers and student teachers, but it's not compulsory.
No, and they were all saying that the first time that they'll come into racism will be in their classroom as it's happening, and they're worried about saying the right thing, doing the right thing, so quite a lot of the time it's not addressed, and then that's leaving kids like us and other kids around the country feeling just like
in a more vulnerable position than they would be.
So we want to, it's not about, because we've had some comments and things from people who I think we're trying to be like, oh, all teachers are racist, or this is, so we need to drum it into you that you're not this. It's not that. We want to give teachers the tools so they feel empowered to empower their children and have open discussions about race in class, because that's not something that's talked about at all really at the moment.
People treat it as this massively like controversial,
like taboo subject
situation, and I think that's why in Scotland it's so like rife, is that no one really talks about it. You sweep it under the carpet, and it's not like
and I think because Scotland is such like, in terms of like, we're the first country in the world to teach like LGBTQIA teachings in schools. We're very open in our values. We're very welcoming. I think sometimes people think, oh, that's not our problem. Like racism isn't a problem in this country, but actually it is.
Belittles their pain.
And I think that what people don't realize is like they'll say things and do things that they might not think will be racist or ignorant, but actually they are, and that's why we want to educate, because it's not something you're born with, it's something you're taught. Like a child isn't born and then is like, oh, I'm not going to that person because they're Black, or I'm not going to. It's something that is taught, so that's why we think schools are so important, because that's where you 100%.
Are. Ignorance is definitely a taught thing. Like it's it's all to do with your surroundings and how you're brought up and educated, really. And if it's not there, then there's a massive. I didn't even realize it was that low. I'm absolutely baffled at that number. Like that's incredible.
How did you find out those figures? Was I take it the research was pretty, like, it must have been taking quite a lot to dig those numbers up.
We were kind of lucky that a lot of the people reached out and said, oh, we'd love to help, and Merrin helps us with the figures, and he said that he went to this EIS like day, and they were telling people about these figures, and then just by googling you'll find that like the statistics are there, but they're not really spoken about. What do they stand for? EIS, Education Institute of Scotland. They're the biggest. Very well researched.
Let's go with that.
They're like the biggest teaching union in Scotland, and they have actually been so helpful to us. Like they're the ones that have been giving us like the figures and things for that, and we had a really good meeting.
It was Selma, with the equality manager. She was lovely,
and she wrote an article and mentioned our thing, and so they've been like really helpful. So they've been great with statistics, like that side of it with the education. And then we've just had loads of teachers like get in contact with us, like people that were a few years above me in school who've got in contact to say, oh, I'm a teacher now, and actually like this isn't taught and this isn't done. So it's been really helpful because we've had loads of like actual teachers experiences and teachers who are in training, teachers who've been qualified X amount of years. So that's been really helpful as well.
Yeah, if you're getting first-hand information is definitely definitely going to be valuable. Do you know, like Chris, I'm baffled at just the numbers. That's and it's something that's never really dawned on me before until you said it. And it's when you hear the number, it is quite striking. And you think, like you said, obviously there's going to have to be more research done to find out the reasons why. But I it's kind of put me in the back foot a wee bit. I'm just thinking, and I can imagine. Do you know what? It's funny as well. We had Beverly Jane Smith on the podcast 2 days ago, and the same theme has come up about education. She is the founder of Blacksmith Creatives, and and we were just talking about, and she basically just said what you said, that people might say something that didn't have a racist intent, but it comes across that way and stuff like that. And she said the same thing, and we kind of came to a similar conclusion that it is education that is key, because we also spoke about that there are certain people who probably want to learn more about it, but they're scared, they're sort of standoffish because it's such a hot topic, you know, and for fear of being vilified on social media, you know, because all you need to do is just say one thing, and before you know it, there you go, that's it, you've got a target on your back, and I think. But that's why we also spoke about, that's why we've been trying to get people onto the podcast to give them a platform to kind of say, well, actually, listen, let's just talk about this and have a conversation about it, rather than people shying away from the issues.
Yeah.
And then ultimately get into a situation that we're in just now, that when you're saying these numbers to Chris and I, that we're going, what? Really? But do you know what I mean? This should be something that is known.
Yeah,
basically what I'm getting at, you know.
But it's like, it's just, well, we didn't even know that.
No,
like we knew like it was poor because, but it was a shock to us as well, that we were like, oh my god, like actually this is a major issue, and it's not talked about. People don't know about it. It's like the street signs in Glasgow. How like, I didn't know they were all named after like slave owners. I had no idea, and it's like that should be something that should be something that's taught. Like you should know that. You should know that about your city and things.
Have you had a look at the street names in Helensburgh? Because of obviously the history of Helensburgh, it was a massive shipping place, you know. And you think down in Rue, they were all, I think, like sugar barons and all that owned those old houses. I bet you in Helensburgh there's a similar situation.
Oh yeah,
no, I think
totally,
100%.
But I think we have this like degree of separation because it wasn't like there wasn't like slaves on the streets. It was like the money that was used. Yeah. So it's like, I think that is why it's probably echoed a lot today, why it's not our problem, because you don't see pictures of like hundreds of like the streets like with slaves and stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I think when people start like I've quite often heard, oh well, I mean, we're not as bad as over here, and we're not as bad as over there. But saying, we're like the least racist place, but it's actually still the least racist. It's still racist. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of
we're not as racist as that.
There's not scales to this. It's not a scale thing. It's a line, not a scale. You know what I mean?
So you, am I right in saying that you both went to Hermitage Academy?
Yeah.
Right, okay, so Chris and I went to Hermitage Academy. And you mentioned earlier on that you had said to deal with sort of racial issues at school and stuff like that. And that's what I was saying about education, because that is something that never even entered into my mind, you know. And I think you're right that there should be something in schools where everybody is made aware of these issues and inequalities. And it's just because we all went to the same school, we probably had different experiences there, you know. Chris and I were walking about with blinkers on, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Chris was doing it anyway.
Situation, no, still walking about with the blinkers. No, it's so strange to think that the kind of that was happening. Stuff that was happening kind of it's under your nose, and you will just not. But I think as well is the school system we went through, like, well, what's happening now is you're not taught to question anything.
Yeah.
Like, you were just taught to, like, things were presented in front of you. Like you say, it was just like you never, you were just right. Okay, go and learn this. Don't, like, at no point were you going, well, why am I learning this? What's the relevance of this? I mean, there was nothing. You were not taught to kind of look behind the curtain. It was just a case of, right, here's the show. Here's what you're going to learn. Off you go, right, and you can just go and do these wee jobs at the end of it. You know what I mean? So I think, well, I hope that things like this now are going to kind of be a catalyst for change, because we definitely need to change the way we're doing things.
I know we've had a bit of an issue. I mean, should we put them on blast?
Do it.
I'll put him on blast. The head teacher, the new head teacher at the academy.
Who is the new head teacher?
What's he called?
Mr. Williamson.
Williamson.
All right. So he's not a teacher that was there when we were there. Right?
No.
Right, okay.
So basically, we were during all that, like, when the Black Lives Matter movement was quite big and was
more at the forefront.
More at the forefront. Yeah. The school didn't come out and say anything. There wasn't a statement made by the school. There was nothing said by the school.
I think they sent out a wee email, but it wasn't like
it was nothing.
It's not.
So our little sister's friends had emailed him to say, do you not think you should maybe, like, say something? And then the other thing was, it was like, obviously there was the article in the Helmsburg Advertiser where I was talking quite openly about the racism that I had experienced at that school. Granted, he wasn't the head teacher at the time, but it was his school that was being mentioned. Nothing was said. And he kind of just said, well, what I think personally,
I shouldn't have forced my opinion through the school channels, basically.
Yeah.
So,
and then we sent him another email just to say, like, that's not a great response, because being like, you're basically saying, oh, just because, like, it's like saying that racism is an opinion, like, it's like a political opinion. It's not. It's your school should be. It's right or wrong. It's black and white. It's like literally, like, it's
children being safe.
Yeah.
So essentially, what you've done is you've graded a school teacher. I'm a big fan of your work. Must do better.
But he just, like, I mean, he sent Maddie an email back, and Maddie had said, like, you're not really acknowledging this, and he said, oh, I will. He basically said, oh, I haven't read your letter.
He said, because I said, oh, maybe some personal development is needed, which is probably a wee bit harsh from me, but I'm over it. And then he said, like, you're so wrong in my personal stance. I can't even begin to explain.
Respond. And
even though as a teacher, he should be able to educate others, he couldn't do that.
He said
try.
Something. He said something about.
I
know.
Go see how far you get.
I know.
See how you get on.
It was just stuff like he said, like, perceived victims of racism.
It was just
wow.
So it
kind of highlighted.
It's just like
a lot.
This is why it's so important, because kids don't feel safe. Like,
and I think the whole
you're in charge of teachers.
He is the front man of he's the front man of the band, man.
The show at that school, like, I mean, I kind of get it from the teachers that were there when we were there. Because some, like, I mean, there was some strange stuff with it. There was some kind of things that went on when we were teachers there that were well below kind of acceptable levels.
Yeah.
Like, now you would think, geez, come on, man.
So,
do you know
that's why
it kind of links? Sorry to cut you off there. It kind of links in. So I'd seen this thing about the racial awareness course thing that you were kind of suggesting on. Well, that guy, he should be heading straight there, man.
Sign up.
I got your first name.
Yeah, don't worry, sir. Sign you up.
But do you not think that? See earlier on what I was saying about people not wanting to have an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, because they're scared of anything that could come back on them, you know, and they're thinking about things as far as them, like first person, rather than thinking like a broader, like take a sort of broader stance on it, you know. And actually, because see, to be honest with you, if he'd come back and he'd been uber supportive and stuff like that, he wouldn't be getting blasted on here, would he?
No.
I know.
Do you know what I mean? He'd be like, top guy. Do you know what I'm saying?
But essentially, all he's done is just prove your point.
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
really
100% proved your point. Yeah.
I asked him to, like, I was like, is there anything that you guys have done that you could, like, point me to? And I just said, like, it can be something as like so simple, like a message from them to the community. This is what we're gonna do. We're sorry that this has happened. He didn't say, like, he was just like, didn't acknowledge that at all. So apparently he's doing nothing, which is great.
Yeah.
But I just think that's the whole, what you're saying, like, no, I don't think anyone has been perfect. Like, obviously I've made so many mistakes.
Yeah,
like,
me too.
I've said stuff that's so out of order with my race, and then it's just like, no one's saying that you have to have a completely like clean slate.
No.
All you need to do is saying, I was out of order then, or I know more now, or I've totally changed.
And that's the thing. And I think a lot of people with this as well are seeing it as an attack, and it's not an attack. We want to change your opinions and change how you think and change how you do. So actually stuff that you might have said and done in the past, you won't do that again.
Yeah.
So that's
I don't understand like the complexity of it. It's just like,
because like we've said, like
just don't do something, or maybe just say something different.
Like we've done and said stupid things in the past. Like, of course we have, and we acknowledge that, we apologize, and we're educating ourselves.
And I think us as well, being mixed race, and we're quite light mixed race as well, so we understand like there's so much that we don't have to go through that if we were darker. And like, and even like us too, difference, like you, because Maddie's hair is more afro than mine. Maddie, I think you're more identifiable as being mixed race black, whereas I don't get placed, especially if my hair is straight. Like, I'll get asked if I'm Spanish, I'll get so I even passing almost I'll almost like pass as European or Brazilian, or so I don't even get as much like stuff as what you've had. And like even our brother, like obviously it's different for boys as well. Like you're like the way that like society perceives like a black male instead of like women and stuff.
I mean, I've seen that a lot firsthand. I mean, I've obviously I've just come out of the army, and I've worked with a lot of lads from the British Commonwealth, so across Africa and the Caribbean. And I mean, like, even like we've been on nights out and stuff, and the way that they've been treated has been just vastly different. And like, people have just like said, and I mean, some of these guys are some pretty dangerous guys. Like, I mean, like, these are like, we're trained individuals. You know what I mean? like, and I've been in like some real harrowing situations with these guys, and they've had my back and I've had theirs, and then like you come back home and see the way that they're treated as opposed to the rest of us. And you're like, it's not on. No. And obviously we see it massively different because they're kind of like, for lack of a wankier term, they're part of it. They're brothers, you know what I mean? There's brother, like a kind of brotherhood sort of thing. I hate using that sort of term, but that's essentially what it is. And it's so you kind of you see past that because you see the individual, but other people's just like outside, they just look at what it is and they just it's ridiculous. Like
it's like crazy. Like
angry.
Like when we've been gone to America in the past, the only times I've ever got through security without being interrogated is because I've had a black gate agent, and that's happened twice. And the rest of the times I've been there for 15-20 minutes as they ask what I do, how much my parents earn. Maddie got taken.
It's like a secondary customs room, and was, like, I was the whitest person in the room, like, bar any of the workers. It was just me and like anyone.
You were only like, what?
I was like
17, so it wasn't even legal that they had pulled her off on her own.
But the thing is, it was mental because they just took me in and then they asked me the exact same questions, and they're like, on you go, like. But I don't know what they were. I mean,
it's racial profiling. That's what it is.
Yeah, not that intimidating a person. They're barking up the wrong tree.
Look at me,
I think I actually had the Finding Dory mask on.
I was going to say a wee Dora the Explorer backpack on.
Honestly, I was like, America, like, here we go. Oh, it was bad.
So after you've written the petition, written the letter, set up the petition. Obviously, you got a bit of traction from media, stuff like that. So when you've been out, when all that was put out on the media, what has been the perception and the kind of feedback you've gotten from the public?
Mostly, it's been positive.
Yeah, a couple of people. I remember I put it up, and then this boy commented on my post, and he was like, do you think this is feasible? I was like, I don't think you're the policy manager for the the government, so
I wouldn't even try, girls.
You charging the checkbook or something?
No.
No, it's not.
Nah,
not a
not funny.
financial option for us.
Like,
Sorry.
shut it down, everyone.
Right, guys, we need to
hang up the boots.
Yeah.
We tried, guys.
Scrap
We
it.
tried.
Oh man.
Stand down, guys. Stand down.
Yeah.
Maybe next time. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, we've just had a lot of comments we've had is it's like, oh, it's not just Black history that's important. I'm like, no, I know you've quite clearly not read what we have written.
But, I mean,
because
bar that, the majority
has been amazing.
I think that
and
speaks to like Scotland. Like, I think, well, it's like what you were saying earlier. It's like an open country, but I think there is a lot of like stuff that goes on that's not great in this, like the way that we perceive our country. But I do think people are more willing to listen here than like in other parts of the world, and I think that's why we're the best. But no, we're dead lucky because I think lots of my friends as well, like just be like, oh, I just didn't think of it that way, and I think that's all kind of changed. But
I kind of think that Chris and I spoke about this a wee while ago about. So I think that as time goes on, that racism will dissipate because I mean, if you think about it, if you were a homosexual 30 years ago, you were never treated at anything like you're treated just now. You know, and I think it's because of things like what you guys are doing, creating awareness that throughout, just as the generations move on, that eventually it will be something that is like an archaic view, you know. The only problem is that's no solace to anyone who is living now. Do you know what I mean? You're still having to go through it, but I think it is something that I mean, even you look at sectarianism, right? I mean, in Scotland, sectarianism, I mean, I remember speaking, I used to work in the bowling club in Cardross, and there was a guy who's like, something about, we never used to let the Catholics stay in Cardross or something. You're just like, what? Do you know what I mean? It was ridiculous. Whereas now, that's not a thing. Do you know what I mean? And I think that over time, that this will eventually
kick up the arse, get hurried on. You know?
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what I mean, though. Like, you're like, well, that's all good and well, Greg, right? But time's marching on, big man.
I know, Jesus Christ.
No, but do you know what I mean? Like,
No, I totally.
Rome wasn't built in a day. Like.
No, but I get, and I'm not by any way, shape, or form saying, right.
No, oh my God.
No, but what I was trying to get at this.
Coming again?
No, but what I was trying to get at is that over time, with education, that the racism will be diluted out. And then we will all get along swimmingly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hopefully.
Yeah. So was it the Hillsborough Advertiser that kind of locked onto it first?
Yeah, so originally Maddie had made a video on Instagram, like kind of talking about us growing
so
up.
Cringy,
and,
oh my gosh.
And like just like our experiences growing up, and then that made me, I made a post about just like some of the racism I had experienced growing up, and then people were like, oh, make it public so we can share it. So I did that, and then the Helensburgh Advertiser saw it and had originally said, oh, we want to do a piece about like you guys growing up in Helensburgh, but then by that point we'd started writing the petition and things, so they were like, great, we'll write about that as well. So they were like one of the first, well, they were the first people who actually like picked it up, and they did a massive article about it, which was amazing. And then just from there we had BBC Scotland, we were on BBC Radio Scotland talking about it, and then STV picked it up and we were on Scotland Tonight talking about it, which was just amazing. And then we've just had a few
Sunday Post, they've been really good.
The Sunday Post have been amazing. They did like a big article, and then their politics editor,
thanks, Mark Aitken.
Mark Aitken, he has been incredible. He's been like
pushing
John Swinney and Nicola Sturgeon's people for comments for meetings.
We did get a comment.
We did get a comment from John Swinney, but it was
very I don't think he's read it.
No, very clear that he had not read.
Was it just like on you go yourself, guys? Was it one of those?
Yeah, I know. It wasn't even. It was just like,
he was like,
he just
there's work to do. Okay, bye now.
Yeah, pretty much that. And it was, the only thing he touched on was like Black history education. I was like, but that's not
even one of our points. Come on, John.
Come on, John.
So I know.
C-
must do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So I know.
Come on, John. Pull it together, son.
I know. So we just need to. I think we just need to keep keep pushing and keep annoying them and badgering them. And on our mum's cousin, she works for Ocean Outdoor, and they do like the electronic billboards. So she managed to get, our cousin Lorna has created all the artwork for the petition. So we managed to get our artwork put up on electric billboards all over Glasgow, which was amazing. It was a bit surreal, wasn't it? Like seeing it. But yeah, so we just want to keep pushing, keep the momentum up.
We know our local MP has sent it to John Sweeney, but then we never got like anything back from that. But I think we just need to keep on being like, hi,
we're still here. We're not going to go
100%.
away.
I think it's just
100%.
unfortunate that all of this Black Lives Matter stuff like that all happened at the same time as COVID.
Yeah.
Because everybody's just been like, look, guys, we get what you're saying, man, but face masks are on. You know what I mean?
But are they on but it's not be on if you're a Tuesday and then inside a takeaway but not eating and then maybe having I don't know.
So I mean, mate,
but then maybe you can take it off then and then, I don't know. Nobody knows.
I know. I was in Asda today and I had my mask on. I was asking the guy for something and he was like, I can't understand you. And I was like matches, and he was like, what? And I was like, a box of matches. And he's like, you're gonna have to take your mask off because I can't hear what you're saying. And I was like, what?
Just take a wee pad with you.
So I was like, matches, and he was like, oh yeah. I was like,
I mumble at the best of times as well. Oh my gosh, I really
you actually
need to,
do.
like,
You're a nightmare.
Shout through the mask. Sorry.
And you can't hear for.
Yeah, it's just a night. It's really the like save lives. I get that. Like wear a face mask. Right, it's just gonna be hard for me.
So everyone with like perspex, then people can like
I like that, mate. I like that. So where were the billboards? Were they just all around Glasgow?
They were all over Scotland actually. So
wow.
They were Aberdeen, Edinburgh,
Paisley, Glasgow.
There was some on Great Western Road. There was a few in the south side. There's on London Road.
Annie's Land, I think.
Annie's Land. Yeah, they were.
We didn't go across the whole country. We didn't go up to Aberdeen to take a
picture. There's one up here.
I know. Well, my friend said she was in her car and her girlfriend was driving. They were driving down Great Western Road and it came on and she screamed so loudly that her girlfriend said she almost crashed the car because she thought something was wrong. And she's like, no, it's Flo's.
It's Flo's.
So I sent me this blurry drive past photo.
Yeah, Ruben and I thought I was going to crash because I think it was Mum was trying to take a photo. She was we were picking her up and like Mum's with phones, so it took 45 minutes to get her camera out, and I was like, Mum, like this is not a junction, this is a 6 mile an hour road.
She just kept like
wait
and like when we went to look for our billboards on the south side the other day, and she was just like stopping in the middle of the roads like, we'll just wait and see if it comes on. And I was like,
the baby's up to her head.
Oh my god!
It's really
hanging out the windows.
My
babies have done a billboard.
Literally.
You best believe she was out there directing traffic.
Oh Jesus! It was terrible. And she was like, "Just calm down. There's no one else on the road." And we're like, "Oh my god!"
Fleet of traffic behind us.
Just that confidence that only mums have. It's incredible. I love it. It's just they just seem to develop it over time. They're like, no, my children. No. Everyone can wait. I'm doing what I'm doing because of my children.
I remember once we were bit of a sad story, but we were at a funeral and we were in the funeral procession and there was a red light and Mum just went straight through it and we were like, Mum, you can't do that. She was like, you can when you're in a funeral procession. It's like, no, you can't. I was like, what are you talking about?
It's one of those things that, see, if somebody told me that, I'd be like, can you? Like, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things.
Like, it's your mum saying it, like what you're saying.
Oh yeah.
It's just total
anything
certainty,
with conviction.
100% unproven facts.
It's like the inside light on in the car. I genuinely thought till like 2 years ago it was illegal to have the inside light on whilst you were driving.
Is it not?
It's not.
No. You can
live in a lie
on inside the car. It's not illegal.
Oh.
But Mum used to like, get that off.
Yeah.
Sorry, Mum.
Yeah. And our mother as well, drill sergeant. She would believe anything that comes out of her mouth.
That's it. You talk with conviction on any subject. People will believe you. Yeah, 100%.
So talking about your parents, like I take it they're incredibly proud of you.
So
hopefully.
I mean, I'm not talking about just in general, right? Like, but I mean, after all of this,
we're the prodigies.
Yeah.
No,
I think
us two are more. Yeah, no, they are happy. I think happy and proud.
I know we're not a very like. You're
not a cuddle. This is a world exclusive.
But like, I don't know. We're not a very like.
Oh no, they were okay, right? No, they're gonna kill us, Florence.
I know.
No,
No, they are proud. They are proud.
She doesn't love me.
I know. No, they are
No,
proud.
they
They do.
Yeah,
The mum does tell us.
Dad's always like 1 second away from a tear anyway. So yeah.
Oh really?
And I'm in touch with his emotions, I would say. The Joseph men.
Yeah, they are.
But
the wusses.
yeah. We're doing bits for mental health for men.
Oh yeah, sorry. No. That's terrible. Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
So for what has been the reaction in the workplace for you? Obviously, you've been working through all of this COVID nonsense. So,
to be fair, like I've not really. Well, I've talked about it at work, and everyone at work has been
too
like,
busy
oh my God,
saving the world. That's
yeah, too busy saving children's lives.
Yeah.
No, no,
saving
no,
babies. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
What have you done over lockdown?
But no, like we've just been. Everyone at work's been really supportive and sharing it, and yeah, signing it and like getting their friends to sign it and stuff. So yeah, no, it's been really good. Everyone's been really, and like it's been good as well because we've had like those 4 a.m. deep conversations on night shift about things that actually the girls were like, oh, I wouldn't have spoken about this before, and it's interesting to get like people's perspectives on it. So actually it has been good.
well, I mean, that's exactly what you want though, isn't it? You kind of want people to like I said earlier on, not clam up about things and kind of open up and ask questions about it. Yeah,
totally.
Entirely. So what's what is the next step apart from getting John Swinney to get off our fence?
And Hermitage Academy to actually acknowledge what they've done. Yeah,
that's it. We're picking Hermitage Academy.
That's it.
Yeah.
100%.
We're getting them.
Get your banners, get your signs are going.
Yeah.
No, I think we're just gonna keep
just any effective change. So I think like him, like John Sweeney saying, oh, there's work to be done, and we'll definitely look at black. It's not good, like him saying it. So I think on like a local level, what you've said, like about changing like 5 people's opinions or whatever, and then hopefully like in relation to our petition, just keep up that momentum. Like obviously
we're just going to keep annoying the Scottish Parliament until they listen to us, basically.
Solid
we're just
plan.
gonna, I mean, we might one of my friends was like, you should just start saying that John Swinney is a racist and then he'll reply to you quick. I was like, maybe not. Maybe not the way to get like the change through. Well,
you need to see
we'll
the way I'm going to edit this podcast is you've just said the same word as John Swinney and racist in the same sentence. Just pushed them together, move them a bit a wee bit. Just like, Swinney is a racist.
Joseph siblings, Brand Sweeney is a racist.
Sweeney.
You've written the headline already.
Yeah, we'll get blacklisted off like every.
Yeah, I know. Christ.
They'll never listen to us.
Aye.
I think we'll put that idea on the maybe pile of
outing
MPs as racists. Yeah. So we'll go with maybe next time.
Yeah.
So did you guys go to the Black Lives Matter rally in Glasgow?
No, we didn't. My patients, I look after children who have cancer, so their immune systems are really they don't have immune systems, so it wouldn't have been safe. Even I just wouldn't have felt comfortable.
But even looking at the ones that were like in hindsight, the Glasgow one was like so much more like spread out. But the ones in like Brighton, Manchester, London, they were like just. I mean, I'm not saying like don't go out. Like obviously, if people are. These are human rights we were like protesting for, so absolutely, but I think we were especially expecting it to be like packed crowds, and it was just not. And
just because, and like the guys, our dad is shielding and the guys still see him and things, so it just wasn't it
at the time, especially it was
we
wish we could.
We wish we could, but we felt like obviously it was my job, dad, and then
so we got the petition out that day. I believe. I think we were like, right, we need to do something.
Yeah, we felt like we wanted to do something, and we just, we felt a bit.
You can do things at home as well. Like, definitely.
You don't. I think people who went out and were safe, and then like more power to you. It just wasn't the right decision for us at that time for us to go out and.
Yeah, I think for me it was a bit strange because obviously you seen it all happening, and there was a whole kind of Instagram black square thing, and for me it kind of almost felt like maybe some people were kind of slightly disingenuous with it and just kind of
definitely.
Yeah, 100%.
like kind of just virtue signaling, going, look, I'm not a racist. I put a black square on Instagram.
Yeah,
and
just
you're
like
going, well, wait a
grandstanding.
minute. Like,
Do you want to put that one?
oh,
Oh, sorry.
you're right. No, you're right.
It's
Fine.
actually going to be like pitch black in the next 5 minutes in this room. Sorry. So, Flo, it's down there.
No, you're right. Happy days.
Sorry.
Oh.
Turning on a light is just about what we can manage.
Sorry.
No, you're all right.
But yeah, no, I think a lot of people were just
mass. I think there was like the amount, it was like triple or something, the amount of like Blackout Tuesdays, and then you look at like the other hashtags with like actual information or other, and it was just, it totally outweighs it. And I mean, if you're putting that up and then like going and reading, like, absolutely, I don't think it in itself is a bad idea. I just think that you're taking something that like essentially is about human rights and you're kind of making it a trend or kind of superficial element to it, and that's the only thing. I'm just like,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it was, I kind of felt this kind of need, something I've learned over time is to try and kind of digest information and try not to kind of jump on.
Yeah.
I'll make a conscious effort of not jumping on a craze the first time I see it and think, okay, I'll do that. Because I mean, ultimately, me putting a black square on Instagram, all that's doing is making me feel better. Making me feel like I've done something when actually I've not really done anything. I've not achieved anything. So I've kind of sat thinking, well, how do we go about getting this kind of like supporting this cause, this topic? And for me, it was doing things like this, like actually having a genuine conversation about it and creating a platform for people to do it. And then also it's actually just sitting back, listening and learning. And then for me, it's all the things that I'm learning right now are going to be taught to my children, and then from there, like, I'm actually going to influence the people round about me with the things that I've learned, rather than just going, oh well, I'm not racist, black square on Instagram, go me, well done. I mean,
totally.
I don't think we know how like powerful, like, it sounds so cringy, so bear with, but like how powerful like we have that influence that we do have over other people, like it is mental. Everyone you can change, like
100%.
I was about to go really cheesy there. I'll just stop myself. But it's true. Right. Like, you know,
it's all about essentially making that elephant in the room just real smaller. I mean, shrinking that, can allowing people to feel comfortable to ask questions and go, well, I'm not sure about this. What do I say now? I mean, I wouldn't say, God, it's okay for me to say this, because that's not probably the way to do it. But like, do you know what I mean? If you're,
is it racist when?
Is it racist if I? No.
But what if I do this?
Probably.
And it's like,
the answer is probably
Or I love that. Oh, I'm not being racist, but
do you find it racist? I was like, half of me does, and the other half's not.
Yeah, the other half's fine.
Half doesn't. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's absolutely, it's bizarre, isn't it? When you just like you think of the way people kind of approach this, so they're just scared. People get really scared to kind of talk about things, and it's not the way
it's
to
no
do
one's
it.
fault.
No,
it's like,
and
that's
it's like,
why education, I think, is the key. It's because you talk about those conversations when you're in primary school. If you're having those conversations in the classroom, it's not going to be a big thing when you're older.
And like, I remember once when I think it was when we had the restaurant, and a little boy or I can't remember, a child said like, why is that man's skin like that color or whatever? But my dad, like, totally fine question, but the mum was like, oh, like, you can't ask that, you can't say that. And my dad was like, oh no, like, it's, and like explained it to him, but like, it's stuff like that, it's like, no, you can't say that.
It's just mental. It's like,
they're just
biological.
Asking.
That's it.
They're just like,
what restaurant?
It's called PJ's Kitchen.
Right. Now, we've got a connection that you didn't know about. Are you related to an Eric Joseph?
Yes.
Right, so he was one of my dad's friends. He owns Sound Acoustics in East Kilbride.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, because he's Media Spec.
Media Spec, that's it. Yeah. So, my dad and Eric were very good friends before my dad died, like for years, like because he was in business with a guy called Graham Bell, who owns
he's still. So Bellsy
and my dad were like the best of pals.
Oh.
Yeah, so when I saw the second name, and then when you mentioned the restaurant, I was like, it's definitely the same people.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll go
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
That's it.
So
That's
when
it.
Eric married Ambi,
Yeah.
my dad was there with my mum.
Oh, I was
Yeah.
one of the bridesmaids.
There
I
we
probably
go.
met
It's
him.
a small
know.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Small guy with a glorious mustache.
Yeah, my dad was the guy with the mustache that kind of looked like he was in the
Oh.
mafia.
Well, we're seeing them tomorrow. We're going
Yeah.
away. It's our little sister's 18th this weekend, so we're going away tomorrow. I'll say to him.
Ambi did my
I'll see
sister's
him.
teeth, incidentally.
Shout. Honestly, those two, they're mad. They're like, no. I remember once I was doing a music exam and I went in and the woman was like, is your dad called Eric? And I was like, no, but my uncle is. And she's like, I know Eric. We go way back. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Then I said to him, he was like, oh, I'll text her. And I was like, don't, because she'll fail me. If you're texting me, oh, please, I'll get failed. Like, I was like, don't you dare.
Yeah. Eric's a lovely man.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he's just he's a good soul, man. He's definitely
he
a good
is.
soul. Right, guys. Well, I think we'll call it a day there. I wish you the best of luck with all of this. I think it's something
Thank
that
you so much.
definitely needs to be done.
Yeah.
100%.
And I think you need to keep knocking on the door,
Yeah.
because I think it is all too easy for the powers that be to just bury their head in the sand and continue just kidding on that there is not a problem here. And there definitely is.
Yeah.
And I wish you the best of luck.
Thank
Just
you so
before we
much.
go,
Thank you for
how
having
do you,
us
how
on.
can people actually get involved in it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us.
Yeah.
Come on, Greg.
So,
Come on, man.
so so the website address that has our open letter and petition is reparationineducation.card, and card is CARRD. .co, and that's got the full open letter and a link to the petition. All of us have it on our social medias, so all of our Instagrams, it's just like Florence Joseph.
We'll fire it up as well.
Amazing.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you. So we've got the link in our bios, we've got the posts all over our social medias. So
Email your MP as well.
email your MP, your local MSP,
There's loads of
MPs.
templates as well.
Yeah,
If you struggle, like I know I did, so I was like templates.
Yeah.
So there's loads of templates.
says the lost student over here.
She'll shout that shit out really quick.
Template.
How to spell, like yeah, no, great. Career ruins, but
Let's hope Berners Pollard doesn't. But yeah, so yeah, just across all our social medias and if you Google like our names in the Sunday Post, it'll come up. And
yeah, the Sunday Post
Absolutely.
that's got John Sweeney's
full statement.
average.
I thought you were going to say his home address.
So just go outside.
So we'll all go there on Tuesday.
Yeah. Ticket.
He's got his response.
Yeah.
Right, great. Right, okay, guys. Well, as I said, thanks very much for talking to us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Not a problem at all. And for those listening, thanks for tuning in. And please hit those like and subscribe buttons.